Do. We are live. Hi, everybody. We'll wait for a second for it to show up on our. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we are live at the Octagon virtually with Layna Bentley. Yay! And thank you, everybody. Well, it'll take a minute for people to get in and find us. But in the meantime, I'll talk about the Octagon because the people who are tuning in probably are familiar with the Octagon. So this is the Octagon shop, and we are part of the Octagon Center for the Arts, which has been around since 1966. And we do gallery exhibits, and we have classes, and we have our retail shop, and of which Layna is one of our 175 artists that we have. Part of our mission here at the O is to encourage creative self-expression by providing inclusive space and opportunities that bring people together and add to our lives. And the pandemic has taught us how to do this virtually, and we're glad for everyone joining us here tonight. And for those who listen later on our YouTube channel, we hope to soon be able to hold classes and gallery openings and patio parties in person. Let's hope everybody gets vaccinated so we can do that. And we know that the ability to broadcast digitally will not leave us. And so we will continue to take advantage of technology and do these programs digitally so anyone from anywhere can join us. Every month we have featured artists that are 15% off, and we try to focus on their art. So last month was Jana Swain Peterson. And because of COVID, their 15% off sale goes for 2 months. So Jana was last month, so her work is still 15% off this month. And now we have, I did it backwards. We have Layna Bentley, who is a fiber artist, and her work will be 15% off all the way through, this is April, so May. I know where we are, right? So I'll give a little brief introduction. Layna is a textile artist, teacher, and antique button collector. I don't suppose you have any buttons nearby you'll be able to show us. She's been hand weaving for over 40 years, and she used to specialize in one-of-a-kind tailored jackets. And she does also hand paints silk with a textile design with a focus on Arashi Shibori.
Yes.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
And clamp resist, which you can see the silks right here. And they're gorgeous. And I'll hold them up closer to the camera a little bit. And Layna's work has been shown in galleries and wearable art shows throughout the Midwest, Colorado, California. She's taught at numerous regional and national weaving conferences and guild workshops. And in 2008, she was the guest juror for the International Fiber Celebration exhibit in Colorado. And in 2010, she was one of 3 featured Nebraska artists at Hillstead Textile Gallery, UNL, University of Nebraska-Lincoln, right? And she's also spent her professional life as a teacher of fashion merchandising and interior design. But now you're retired.
Yes, I am.
But only from teaching.
True. Mostly, yes. I'm at the loom a lot.
That's awesome. We won't be able to show you the loom because it's in a different part of your house, but hanging behind your head is one of your silks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've got one on too.
Yeah. So Layna, thank you so much for spending some time. And I know this is awkward and weird, but it's going to be great. And we're excited for our customers to get to know you a bit better. And if you're watching live, you can type in your YouTube comments and they will appear, and we will be able to then ask Layna any of your questions. So, Layna, how would you explain your weaving to someone?
How I do it?
Yeah.
Or how mine's different from other people's, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I don't follow the rules. I kind of do things my own way, and what you're showing is an example of that. Most weavers will use a solid color warp. That's the yarns vertically there, and then the weft is the crosswise yarns. Most people do stripes or solids in those areas, and I do what's called a variegated warp, which means I take a whole slew of yarns of different colors and create my warp. So you get this kind of movement of color in the item, and so that makes mine look different than everyone else's. It tends to maybe hide the pattern a little bit in doing that, but I think you get more dimension and texture from it. So that's
Right.
what I like about it.
Yeah. I was telling Layna earlier, this is one of my very favorite. It's a very fun, happy blue with purples, and you've got greens in there, and kind of an orangey.
That's all hand dyed also. The warp is all hand dyed.
Wow. And what do you use for your dyes?
I use acid dyes for the most part. I have a dye studio at our farm in Iowa, and so that makes me an Iowa artist, legitimately. Anyway, yeah, I will dye warps, and that just gives another dimension to your artwork.
So you have.
And sometimes I buy other people's hand dyed work as well.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, that's and I don't want to jump all around, but that's something I didn't know is that you had a spot, you had a place in Iowa that you do your dyeing. So all of your stuff, you said just the warp is dyed? And
no, I typically work with variegated warps, which means different colors in the warp, and oftentimes one or many of those yarns will be hand dyed by me or by someone else. I work with a certain amount of hand spun yarns as well. Usually that's for pillows and things that I want to be really textural. But I do a lot. I do a lot with those kinds of yarns because I like the result with the variegation.
Oh yeah, it's really fun. This is a fun little pink that's got lots of different. And there's a subtle change in weaving right here.
Yeah, that's the pattern. So the pattern, when you have a variegated warp, the pattern doesn't stand out the way it would if it was a solid warp and a different solid weft. Right. That's what makes mine look distinct. And not necessarily everyone likes that, but I do.
I do. So for the uneducated, which includes me, the warp is
the vertical yarns coming from the back of the loom to the front of the loom.
So vertical
on your item, it's the vertical yarns there. Those are under tension. They're hooked on the back of the loom. They come through all the harnesses that create the pattern, and then the weft is the crosswise yarns. Those go horizontally, and that's what gives your fabric stability and allows it to hold together.
Okay. Oh, I will share some pictures that you sent, and pardon my thingy here. Don't have. There we go. Oh wait, that was the wrong thing to click on. Slide. Here we go. So now here's a good picture. So you have more than one loom. So which loom?
Yes, I've got 4 looms. This is a makeover. It's an 8 harness. So I don't have a pointer, but all those black metal things behind there over the wood. Yeah, all those are the harnesses. This is 8 harnesses, so that means that allows me to do different kinds of patterning with those. So every yarn is tied on in the back of the loom. It comes through each of those harnesses, one of those, a heddle in one of the harnesses, and then comes to the front through that reed. That's the divider where my hand is. Yeah, that's the reed. And that aligns all the yarns, and then it gets tied on in the front. And it's under tension so that the fabric is stable and sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great loom. It's getting tougher to work with because when you change the harnesses, you have to get down on the floor to move them around, and it takes my husband and I working together to do it. I keep thinking we need like a forklift or something. We could lift it up off the ground and work on it.
Yeah, like a hydraulic.
Yeah, like a hydraulic lift, but that'd be kind of inconvenient in the living room.
Oh, that's really beautiful. And here is, so this is obviously you from another.
In an earlier life, yes. This is when I still had brown hair. This is at Franklin Street Gallery in Bellevue, Nebraska, and that was the first gallery that carried my work. That was in 1983, and I'm demonstrating there in their gallery. And this is a shack loom. This is a 4-harness shack loom. As you can see, the harnesses are up. 2 of them are up, so that means I'm ready to throw the shuttle to change the pattern.
And you've got the shuttle you can't see it. It's
you can't see it. Where is it? I don't. It's in my left hand, and it's going through the. Yeah.
So you've got 2 up and 2 down.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And that was in Bellevue, you said? That
yes.
Little place in Bellevue. So nice. All right. Oh, and is this another one of
this is a different loom. This is a hammock loom. This is a 4-harness, and we keep this at the farm because it's really big. This has a story that goes with it. Before I was married, my husband, he wasn't my husband yet. One Saturday morning, he came over with the harnesses. That's those pieces up in the air. He had 4 of those in his hand, and I'm thinking, oh no, he's going to try to build me a loom. But he had purchased the loom for me. I knew it was available. I just didn't have the money to buy it. And he bought that for me. And that's been a great workhorse that I've had ever since. It's the widest loom that I have. It's only 4 harnesses, but that's fine. It's wider. And so I've done a ton of projects on that.
So with the difference between the 4 and the 8 harness is just, you can get more patterns maybe with the 8 because you have more variety of
correct
you can put up and down. Can you put like 2 up and 6
you can
down?
Put 4 up and 3 up, and yes, it's all different combinations. There's books with hundreds and hundreds of patterns. I have done many different patterns, but I've never put a dent in all of them that exist. So
I can't even imagine. This is another great shot of your 8.
Yeah, that's the 8 harness one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't normally have a shack loom company in Boulder, Colorado had their 50th anniversary, I think a year or 2 ago, and they dyed all the shuttles bright colors, and so that's made it fun to weave. Instead of just a brown shuttle, I have a or one shuttle. It's color coordinated.
Oh yeah. That's just so pretty. It's very pretty.
And you can see the reed in this one too, how the yarns are lined up very precisely.
Right.
And also in some of the things, the jackets you're going to show, those are 20 or 24 ends per inch. That means there's 24 yarns per inch. And so that means usually there's 2 yarns going through each of those little tiny dividers in the reed.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, that's gorgeous. I love that. So these are what you used to do. You don't do these so much anymore.
I'm not doing clothing anymore. I did clothing for probably 10 or 15 years. I started off because I was working in interior design. I had a lot of interior design connections, and so I did lots of lap robes and wall hangings and pillows and things like that. And then we had a teacher. We had a workshop. And the lady gave us good instruction on doing the weight that's appropriate to clothing, because that's what I really didn't have an understanding of. So, and that's what I wanted to do all along. So this is an example. I would weave, my first things I wove wide, that large loom, I wove them the full width. And then when you cut the fabric up, you just have so much waste. And so I started weaving about the width, about this wide, like 15 to 18 inches, approximately what the front of a garment would be and the width of a sleeve and such. And I happen to have a wonderful past student who does sewing for a living, and she sewed, she was a tailor basically, and she would take on all my garments, the challenge of doing those. So she could work her magic to make my skinny warps become a beautiful garment. And that was a wonderful thing. So you can see the pattern went through the entire fabric, and then it shows up on the inside of the sleeve.
That's just really cool. Oh, isn't that pretty?
And this is actually this, I had leftovers from a garment from some time back, and that's the middle panel of this, and I wove new pieces to create the garment, and I really enjoy doing that kind of recycling. My parents were married in 1936, and so don't waste anything was kind of our upbringing. So it's fun to take pieces and turn them into something else.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh, and look at this picture I love, because it shows you've got just regular weaving.
Yeah.
Here you've got a fabulous pattern.
Well, and that's the other thing I would do is mix patterns with the same warp, but change patterns in it to give more dimension and texture to the garment. Also, the fact that I had taught fashion merchandising for such a long time, that's really a part of my design ability, that I knew how to create things that were going to look good on someone. So to make the most of their figure.
Yeah. Wow.
I had specific things I always did with to streamline the figure and cover the hips and things like that.
Oh, I tell you, that's just really remarkable. Just how you can do that. Where was I'm just really super intrigued by your weaving. So we have all these stars, and even though it's April, I still have stars out. Especially today, because it was snowing today. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's here in Omaha too.
I know. So see if I get close enough. The color, at least on my computer screen, is just fairly accurate, but you can see. I just love how you. Then you've got a different row of texture right there.
Yeah, that's also a hand-dyed warp and weft. I think that's cotton, isn't it? I believe that one was cotton.
100% cotton, hand-dyed.
Yeah. And so that was just plain weave is over, under. That's the quickest weave. And then I'd throw in a twill every so often just for entertainment.
And this is what you're calling.
Twill. Yes, that's twill.
And that's just a pattern of weaving, right?
Correct. Twill is like blue jeans.
Oh, okay.
The line, that angle line in like blue jeans.
Oh, and then, so then you have to, there's a couple more you're going to have to explain. Because when you take the time to look at these.
Oh yes, that's a type of twill again, but it's a very deep one. It gives you kind of a V shape that was fun to do. It
is. It really does have.
And that's Yeah, that has multiple yarns, as I said, in the warp, and some of them are uh, variegated yarns. Some are plain. I think some are plain gray, and some are. Well, you can see it in the fringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are multicolors, and some are solids. And then the weft is all gray.
Oh, wonderful. And this is 50% wool and 50%.
That's wool. I do a lot in the 50/50 wool silk. It has a really nice hand. It's soft, and lots of times people think they can't wear wool, but has such a nice hand. It isn't a problem.
Yeah, you can't tell that it's not scratchy at all. They're just lovely. And here's another fun texture on this one.
Yeah. That's just another pattern. That's not a straight twill. It's a different one. I can't remember.
It's kind of almost a diamond shape, kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Well, another thing with weaving is I try to choose patterns that have potential for a whole lot of different designs. So sometimes, in fact, what I have on the loom right now, I can do about 4 totally different designs with the one threading. So it simplifies your life in doing any kind of production.
Oh, wow. They're just lovely. They're really, really nice.
Well, thank you. It's fun.
Yeah,
it is. My entertainment.
Your entertainment and other people's things. So we only have, as far as like actual weavers, there's you, and we have Marilyn Anderson, and she's also a talented weaver. I don't know. Do you know Marilyn?
Yes, I do. I bought some of her yarn that's just ready to go on the loom. I haven't got on the loom yet, but I've got the warp ready to go. So we'll both should get a commission on that one, right?
Right. Well, you tell me when, and I'll. So the only difference between you and Marilyn is, of course, she doesn't so much anymore, is raise the animals that make the.
Oh yeah, I don't do that. I had a lamb when I was a little kid. My father raised sheep for 2 years, and that was enough of that. So no.
My husband used to raise sheep too. So anyway, this one's got another fun texture on this one. And my color is not coming out real great. This is a darker red than what it's showing.
Isn't it more salmon-y, kind of, sort of salmon?
Yeah, I would say kind of a hint, but and but in the red range for sure. And I guess the horizontal threads are
those are all well, I don't remember that pattern either. I'd have to look at my.
That's all right. I didn't mean to do a total quiz show on you, and you did something different with the tassels there on this one. Again, this is another very soft one, and it's 50% wool and 50% silk. And
I forgot what all you had there.
Oh, I know. I mean, because then we got. You said you like to use. This one has wool, silk, and mohair.
Yeah, so that's an example of one where I've bought all these different beautiful yarns, and I throw them all together in the warp, a total mixture, and then weave it off. I don't remember. I think I wove that off with a mohair, maybe.
It says mohair on the tag.
Yeah, so it's a much lighter weight, very soft, very fluffy. But much very lightweight and also very warm. Yeah, totally warm. And you got lots of fun. This one's got some. Oh wait, that one's not yours. I was gonna say that didn't look like mine. Be in big trouble.
But we do. We'll give a shout out to Nancy Schneider. But I tell you, I really, really love your textures in your weavings. They're very fun. Very fun.
It's very fun. As I said, that's what kind of makes mine look different from other people's, because it would normally just be a 2-color thing, 2-color item.
That's right. And woohoo! And this has got a fun pattern on it too that People don't
Okay.
always get a chance to. They don't, they don't have a lot of time to sit and.
That's a block twill.
Uh-huh.
So that's a block twill. So that means it's you do a square. You can make whatever size square you want it, or rectangle, whatever size you want it to be.
Right. Which you did on the edge.
Yeah,
The edge
they're
is,
bigger. Yeah.
yeah. But then on this side, it looks a little different
Yeah,
on
they're
the
different
side.
sizes.
Yeah. But again, very fun. So how do you come up with your color palettes that you use for your design?
Well, the yarns speak to me. It's, I've bought yarns. I have lots of yarns of different colors, but I also buy a lot of, as I said, hand spun or hand dyed yarn that has variegations to it. And I think oftentimes those colors are what speak to me. And I work with a lot of analogous color harmonies so that the colors are related. And then I'll throw in something else to give a little surprise and oomph to it. So choosing colors isn't a problem. I just go to the stash of materials and grab a handful. That's what I'm doing right now, is trying to work through all my yarns. I have a big stack right here
Oh, lovely.
of this is cotton rayon,
Uh-huh.
and it's got a little. Let's see. Can you see that? It's a textural. It's sort of a twist, an S twist or Z twist, and it's got about 7 different colors in it. So that will be the warp, or maybe the weft. I haven't decided yet. For probably a kit, dining, like a table runner or something like that.
Oh, right. Yeah. Which, people say that your towels are too pretty to use.
Yeah, I've always kind of assumed that they were never going to be used. I mean, they're machine washable, but I would be very interesting to know if how many of them have ever been used.
I mean, they would make a totally fabulous towel, but they are so pretty, and the total design you have on this one
Yeah.
is very fun. And
Well,
yes,
the idea is it can be a mat too if you don't want to use it
yeah,
to dry towel or dry dishes with. It's the size to be a table mat.
yep,
Like the center of the table, like a
yep,
runner.
a runner or a large placemat. And I was showing off these towels last week because I just love the blues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of a turquoise in the middle for the vertical, and some green. You've got some green running through in the bottom, which is not showing up great, so I apologize.
No,
But
that's
check out our Instagram and our Facebook, and I have a little video where the color kind of shows up a little bit better. And just so many. I always, your color palette is really good. I think I'm going to show some of your silks here. These are so pretty.
I wanted to tell you how I got started too, because I think it's interesting.
Go right ahead.
In the weaving, I'm a graduate of University of Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls. I was on the 9-year plan. It was State College of Iowa when I started, and it became a university in the interim. But I worked in the art department there, and that was where the weaving was taught there. And that was the first time I was ever exposed to what weaving was. I never got to take classes while I was there, but
really? What were you going to school there for?
My degree's in home economics.
Okay.
So
yep.
Fashion, and they were just establishing their interior design program as I was graduating. But when I graduated and moved to Omaha, I went to the Craftsman's Gallery down in the Old Market, and they had some weaving there. And I asked the proprietor, Rishanlo, if she could connect me with a weaver. And it was a good year later, a lady called me like 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Oh, Dick, get that. and sorry. Anyway, this lady called me. Her name was Cornelia Nelson, and she and her husband. Started the Omaha Weavers and Spinners Guild in Omaha in 1950, and they taught weaving, and I learned from her.
Wow.
So I took classes from her in her little shop in the, or not little shop, in the basement of her little house in South Omaha. And one of the deals when you took classes from her, you also needed to become a member of the Omaha Weavers Guild. And so that's been a wonderful organization and connection for me ever since.
Wow, that's awesome. So she was kind of like your mentor?
She was my mentor, yes. Yeah. She was my teacher, my mentor, and she taught a whole lot of people in the Omaha area. She was a great teacher.
And your first loom was bought by your husband, who you were just dating at the time?
My first loom, actually, I purchased. It was a table loom. When I was taking classes from Cornelia, I was learning really fine, tight weaving. And at the same time, I was buying fat and textural hand-spun yarns. Mm-hmm. And so I had this kind of conflict of what I was learning and what I was excited to do. And I was able to buy a tabletop loom at that time. And so that's where I got started. And then down the line, Dick bought the hammock for me.
Yeah, right. And now you got the
and so I have several now. So yeah, I have kind of different projects on each loom. So I'm always entertained.
Well, you know, he's got to keep you out of the way, right? So you always.
Yeah. He's also been my. When I was doing art fairs, he was my roadie. You know, he was the one who set up the tent and did all the grunt work and hauled things, and he's the guy who fixes the looms as well when I when I need something. He corrects the issue, whatever it may be.
Well, you lucked out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait. So you color. And how you like to throw in some little pops of color there.
Yeah. So those little bags came when I do a warp for scarves. I do a 5-yard warp, and that's enough for 2 scarves. And there's always a certain amount, like, I don't know, 20 inches or so left over at the end. And I just hate wasting the warp. So I kind of use up my yarns of whatever I have on the shuttles and collect a whole bunch of those, and then eventually they get made into a bag. And they're fun. Yeah.
They are cute. And you've got a nice lining in there.
They're fully lined. Yeah.
Yep. And nice zipper. So yeah. And I don't sew at all. All I do is break the sewing machine. So my husband does this. My husband does all the sewing and everything, but we have these adorable little clutches. So I don't think people realize that we have these.
Yeah.
So, and
it's just a fun way to use up the smaller pieces that I have.
I know, but then you found the right color lining to go with your yarn. So I
have a big stack of those done, and then a big stack to do.
Well, hopefully somebody will see these and will be like, hey, yeah, I need one of these. But we got a little tissue in there just to show. I mean, you can really put a lot in there.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be perfect for divvying up stuff inside your purse or your backpack. And this is just a cutie patootie. I love this one. So you can see it's tidy. It's tiny, but still, I can still fit most of my hand in there. So very cute. Very cute. Love them. All right. So then your silk dyeing is like a whole other style and technique.
I don't. It's probably been 10 years or so ago. A friend of mine, Bonnie Lucky, is a wonderful textile artist, weaver and dyer, and she taught me her process. And so that's I learned from her about 10 years ago, and I've been playing ever since. I let the silk dyeing be just totally play. I don't take any records of what I do, so that it doesn't become a tense thing. It's just fun, and it's always a surprise to see how something comes out. As I said, we do shibori, which means you tie off areas and then you dye it. Almost all of these, well, probably all of them have been dyed at least twice, if not 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I put one color on, or maybe several colors initially, and then I go back and do it again, either with a clamp resist, which means you clamp off areas, or tie off areas. Or some of these are just letting the dye kind of go wherever it wants to go. And that's fun too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And these are all silk. So you buy the silk, right?
Yes, you can buy silk scarves, just plain white silk scarves. Yeah. Some of them I have got yardage, and then I make them into scarves. So, and I don't remember what those all are. If they have a sort of a zigzaggy edge to it, that means I have taken silk and turned it into a scarf, made it into a scarf.
Yeah, this one looks like a hand stitched.
Yeah.
Hem on this one, possibly.
Yeah.
So what do I?
So anyway, that's been very fun, and then that allowed me to also dye silk yarns as well.
Yeah, because you include them in some of your scarves.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a different thing. You have to be careful with it, because the acid dyes are, you don't want to get them in your nose. So you wear a mask, like a gas mask, and for the silk gets dyed with hot water, and the dye bath and vinegar to set the dye.
Sounds yummy. Let's see. This silk scarf already had a pattern on it, so it makes it even.
Yes. So sometimes it's a jacquard weave structure, which means the background pattern is woven in there, and then I dye over the top of it.
Over the top, yeah. Very pretty colors. So much fun. Just lovely. Just really, really striking and fun. There's another dark color. So, I mean, scarves are really big here lately. So
yeah, well, they're nice because, like, even in the summertime, you wouldn't think you'd need that in the Midwest, but if it's a cool evening, a silk scarf is very lightweight, but it can just give you the right amount of warmth around your neck.
Silk is it's a, we go camping and stuff, and one item of clothing that we bought is silk underwear,
yes.
because it is really good for keeping you warm, and while still being light. And
I was going to tell you that my very first art fair I ever did was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but I did the art in the park in Ames a lot of years, and the first year I did it, was the year of the floods that had been flooding all summer long.
So 1993.
Yeah, probably that sounds about right. And the we had a kind of a funky tent, but and it wasn't raining when it started the day, but it started raining through the day, and Dick put another plastic or something over the top, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a bust. But the people in Ames were wonderful. They came to shop, and so I felt like I did really well for a rainy, awful day. And then the next year they moved it into Hilton Coliseum.
Yep.
And I think I did it maybe 10 years. It was very fun. It was something to look forward to every summer.
We were heartbroken to have to cancel it,
Yeah.
and last year, and so it's called the Octagon Art Festival now.
Yes.
It's
Right.
always the fourth Sunday of
Yeah.
September.
September. Yeah.
And so we're crossing our fingers and hope everyone else is too that we'll have it again this September. And so we're gonna wait a little bit before we call it, but
Yeah.
and everybody who got into it last year will be able to get into it.
Yeah.
Will automatically enter it this year. But yeah, it this last year would have been the 50th.
No, that's
And
yeah. That's great.
so we'll count this year if we have it as the 50th. So
Yeah. But it was a fun art. It was a fun art fair, and I would, as I had good sales, I would go out and buy more art from other people. So
yeah, the artists are good about supporting each other.
Yes, supporting each other. That's true.
Yeah, so 2019 would have been the last time we had it, and it was kind of a rainy day, but the artist said that they still had a decent decent sales, and they were pleased. And having just be a 1-day show, that's pretty good. So
yes, right.
yeah, so it's always everybody around here is always asking, "Are we going to have it? Are we going to have it?"
Yes, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. And we get 80, 90, 100 artists depending on the year who do it. So that's so cool that you did it for so many years. Do you do art shows very much anymore?
I'm old. No, I haven't. It's just
old.
and the roadie's also old. So we've kind of retired from that. I belong to the Boulder Weavers Guild in Boulder, Colorado, and so and they have a 5-day show out there that's been very successful for me. I mean, it's not an art fair; it's a show of everybody's work. It's like a store, like a giant store, and our Omaha Guild does the same thing in November as well. So those are my two main shows a year, and then I'm in a handful of galleries. So that's how I sell. It's doing an art fair. No one understands unless they've done it how much work it is. So I did that already, so I don't have to do it anymore.
It is. It's a lot of work. It can be a lot of fun, but it's a lot.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So what's your favorite? I'm guessing weaving is one of your favorites since you're still so actively weaving.
My favorite thing to do?
Your favorite creative outlet?
Yeah, it's once I started, when the first loom, before I had the table loom, I had gotten a rigid heddle loom, which just has one harness that goes up. And also once I had the other loom, I was so productive. I just made massive amounts of things because I just loved it so much. And, you don't really need 80 scarves. So I had to start selling right off the bat because I was producing so much stuff. So yes, I would say it just makes me happy. Mixing, blending the yarn colors and creating the different patterns. I just said to Dick just today that right now I'm doing a lot of plain weave because of what I am weaving. I'm working through these different yarns, and it's just delightful. It's so pretty to see how they come together, and the client, the customer, probably if it's pretty to them, they don't know if it was many hours to produce or a few hours to produce, and because it's the beauty of it that they fall in love with. So anyway, I've been having fun with that.
It's really, when you're dyeing, how often do you go and dye? Do you try to dye in just a few trips a year, or?
Oh, no. I'm at the farm once a week or more. So it goes in spurts. I will get together a bunch of scarves and determine to do a whole bunch one day. I might do several, do the first coloration, and then 2 or 3 days later, I'll come back and do a second dye bath. I'm doing it kind of little at a time,
Right.
kind of almost all year long.
Yeah. So the farm must be just over the river then?
It's just over the river, about 25 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's good. That's good. You've accomplished so much in all the years that you've done this. Is there anything else you want to, any goals?
What I want to do? Well, I actually have done far more than I could ever have fathomed. When I started weaving, it was just the novelty of getting to do it. And somewhere along the line, I thought I had a unique background because of the fashion and the interior design that I got myself onto the speaking circuit because of the different kinds of experience that I had, and developed workshops that went with that. I had a workshop called Wright Style, and it was all about architecture and Frank Lloyd Wright, and architecture and how that could inspire your weaving. And I had showed, well, then it was slides, but showed pictures of different architecture and how it looked like weave structures. So, and then the fashion background of knowing a lot of fashion designers' work and how that could relate to your own work. I just had that unique background, and so that allowed me to get on the speaking circuit for, I think I did it about 10 years, and then I had enough of that. But I got to teach at Convergence, which is an international weaving conference in. And
they're calling for your car warranty.
Yeah. Oh no, they won't go away. I think before he was supposed to be answered.
Yes. That's hard. It's hard. It's hard. You can't. Yeah. So, and the National Weaving Conference, is that what you mentioned? And
yes. So yeah, I apologize for that. But anyway, I got to teach on different. I was on the teaching circuit for a while. Oh my God, it's not going to go away.
Technology. That's what we got to put up with. It's okay.
I'm losing my train of thought.
Yes.
Anyway, I've got to do far more things than I ever fathomed to get to do. And the one thing you mentioned was the 2010 gallery exhibit. That was really fun. There was 3 of us from Nebraska that were artists, textile artists, as well as teachers. And so that was nice to have that honor, to have a show that was just the, specialized people.
Yes. Yeah, I think some people don't always consider fiber art like art.
Correct.
But at the beginning of the Octagon, but fiber arts have always been very important.
Right.
And Priscilla Sage was one of our founders, of our 4 founding women. And and she was a great she still does, she's not a past, she's still a present. But it has these beautiful, beautiful fiber sculptures hanging all around. We've got one here, of course, but Fort Dodge Hospital has a really nice display of her work. So that was really, I got to see that one day, and I was like, I recognize that. And I'm like, sure enough. So she helped start fiber arts here at the Octagon.
Yeah, that's when I mentioned Franklin Street Gallery. They were one of the rare galleries in Omaha area that was, interested in featuring textiles, and our guild had our show there several years in a row because of that. So, that's a lot of people don't recognize it as art.
Yes, but it is. It's just so pretty. Your stuff is it's just gorgeous, and I hope people will check it out online. I have a lot of Layna's work on our online website that so they can purchase online, and also to obviously coming in person. And so we hope people will we'll check that out, and we'll sell some more of your lovely. I mean, really, it's just fabulous, fabulous stuff. And take a close look at the patterns on the weaving. So it's really, really, really cool. And I wish I could wrap my brain around how it all works with the 4 things and the 8 things and all of that.
It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach sometimes. It feels that way when you're first learning. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. And hopefully maybe someday you can come and visit and do a talk in person and
Sure.
stuff. We had Marilyn Anderson a few years ago do a little, we had a little hands-on where the loom, that's just a really skinny little loom.
Oh, the inkle? Yeah, inkle.
That's it. And boy, did we have fun and making little straps and belts and stuff. But if you do come in, wear your mask. I'm not wearing my mask right now because I'm the only one in here and it's night and we're closed. Keep wearing those masks so we can start doing things in person, please. This is fun though. And this way you didn't have to travel. And so it's kind of, there's a lot of pros to doing it digitally, but I really appreciate you hanging in there and doing this with us.
Yes, thank you very much. I love the gallery. I think Octagon is great. I've enjoyed shopping in it over the years, and it's fun to be a part of it now too.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, we're certainly glad that you have your items in here. And yeah, so everyone come and check us out. And all the links will be down in the description, so they can go, when they go on to the YouTube channel, they'll all be there. But our main website is octagonarts.org, and that will get you to just about anywhere. So,
okay.
All right, so I will click the end broadcast button, and then we can be done, and then you can answer your phone.
Yes, there was a very long-winded conversation too.
Sorry about that, but anyway, and tell your husband thank you, and
yes,
we'll let you go.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Layna.
Bye-bye.